Thank you for tuning into IoT Connect, where we're covering some of the most interesting topics, trends, and news around the Internet of Things. IoT Connect is brought to you by Teal, a wholly owned, patented GSMA certified eSIM platform that connects any IoT device to any network around the world. Now, I'm excited to welcome you all to this episode of IoT Connect. If you're like us and you're passionate about IoT, be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss a beat. Today, I'm excited to welcome Jerome Riordan to the show. Jerome is the Vice President of Business Development and Sales at Tri Cascade, where he is helping to build a cleaner and greener connected world. TriCascade designs the latest machine-to-machine and Internet of Things solutions for smart home automation management. TriCascade is based in Irvine, California, with design and manufacturing facilities in Taiwan. Jerome, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Rob. I appreciate it.
Great. Well, let's jump right into it. You know, prior to joining TriCascade, you served in some leadership roles at some leading telcos. What gets you excited about TriCascade and the advancements that are being made in smart home automation?
You know, it's interesting, and it's a great question too, because my background is in telcos. I mean, I've done that for a long time with big carriers out there. TriCascade was actually one of my customers when I worked for a telco. And I got to know what they were doing, trying to, launch products, those types of things. I got to know the CEO, Max Lee, very well. And then when I wanted to make a change of something I was going to do, I didn't want to stick with the same process of, let me just sell that connectivity and look for some OEM carriers that we can work with. I wanted to get it to that OEM side and then work from really ground up and do some innovative things, which is exactly what we're trying to do at TriCascade. You mentioned home automation, right? And we'll talk a little bit later about IVA, but that's one of those products I think it can change what that looks like today in home automation, or really that connected thermostat, which becomes the hub for the home.
So speaking of TriCascade, what makes you guys unique, and how are you approaching home automation differently or better than some of your competitors in the space?
Yeah, well, the way we're looking at home automation, and really what we're centered around, is IVA, which is an interactive voice assistant. So it's a home thermostat, and the home thermostat market today, and we've worked with major research companies, is completely flat. I mean, there's been no growth whatsoever in the last 6-7 years, because that's what the devices are out that are Wi-Fi devices only, and it just turns on and turns off your heating or your cooling system in your house. IVA now becomes what we call the whole home hub. What it looks at is not just, can I control my temperature in my house? Can I turn it on and off? All those kind of remote applications, but it also can connect up to 50 M2M devices. Wow. So now as you are looking to put, home connective devices in your house, smart curtains and windows, smart irrigation, smart locks, you name it all, IVA can connect those via Wi-Fi or even Bluetooth. And there's some devices that are Bluetooth connected, specifically a front door, right? We've got these remote front doors, but it's a proximity. So I have to be close to it to open the door. If I need to remotely open my door, I can't do that. But with IVA, we can, because remotely through our app, we can go ahead and connect to that front door lock, open it up and let somebody in, if it's a service person or a family member, relative, friend, those types of things. So we're looking at it from the landscape it is today, which is very flat, to really expanding upon what that landscape looks like, giving it much more feature and functionality. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about what we're looking at doing, trying to do, and work with the home builders, even the carriers, and working with companies like Teal to bring that to the forefront of how we can bring this to the home market.
So let's talk about connectivity then for a minute. When we think about smart homes in the past, and you mentioned, we've thought about Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. With your background in cellular, is this something that's changing? Are more homes going to rely on cellular? And is that perhaps why you're turning to companies like Teal or eSIM technology?
Yes, that's a great point right there. So yes. Right now in the home builder market, I live in the state of California. All new homes are required to have solar on the house. They're starting to require other things too, of smart and efficient type devices on there. So smart thermostats are where this all based from, right? And those have only been Wi-Fi devices. So imagine you're a new home builder, and I've built a couple homes in my life. And when you after you build that house, before you close on it, you have to do what's called a walkthrough. You typically take blue tape and you start marking all the things that need to be painted or corrected, whatever. And then you test everything from light switches to the thermostat. Well, if I'm trying to do a smart home with a Wi-Fi connected thermostat, I can't test it out. It's not connected. So I don't really know if that's working or not. So what we're trying to do now is work with home builders and say, hey, look, we can bring in a smart thermostat that can not only connect the thermostat, but to other smart and efficient home devices that you're trying to put in there. And we connect it cellularly. So they can connect that and basically do all the testing they need to when they're doing that walkthrough of that home. So it's really changing the landscape of what that looks like. You mentioned Teal. So that's one of the challenges that we have, right? Is as I look at deploying these across the country, and we're going to be working with the major retailers to put these in their stores, just like, you'd see that out there. And we'll work with the home builders as well to basically build the home with these. We need to have cellular connectivity wherever we are. And working for a major carrier in the past for a long time, I know everybody doesn't have coverage everywhere. So when we talk about that connectivity piece, I can look at where these are being deployed, whether it's through a builder or through an individual purchasing from a retailer, and say, here's where I can get the best connection on that device. So I can, obviously, we've done this many times with the Teal SIMs, is I can go ahead and choose which carrier is going to work best in that area, and then make sure that that can go through full testing on it. And we've actually done this. So we'll talk more about how we tested it internationally. But when we brought that device here domestically, we installed it in our CEO's home. We tried to connect it via one carrier and we had zero connectivity on that. So we just switched the profile, in this case to AT&T's profile, which was 2 clicks through the Teal portal, and bang, all of a sudden we have connectivity and it's working. We can do all the testing we needed to. So that's why that eSIM technology comes into major play when it comes to these types of devices and deploying them, starting out domestically, but then even looking at an international footprint eventually.
So you mentioned this. So TriCascade, you have a need to be able to test both domestically, but as well as internationally, with offices in Taiwan, as well as in the United States. And, we're obviously talking about eSIM and the benefits of having a single SKU that can connect your devices onto really any network anywhere. But maybe you can talk and touch on some of the solutions that you were using prior to eSIM.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So just even kind of rolling back a little bit. So when I came to work for TriCascade, Maxley, our CEO, wanted me to come on board because of my carrier background. I knew that business very well. I knew the industry. I knew the ins and outs of it and how all that works. And I had customers that, through that carrier, we tried to do some testing domestically, but then internationally. It's very challenging to do that. So when I came on board and we went through the whole IVA process and what we needed to do, I brought up to Max, I said, look, I know Teal. I've worked with in the past. I know the folks over there. We need to get a technology in play for our connectivity that gives us flexibility. Because originally TriCascade tried to do testing in Taiwan, which is where our manufacturing and our engineering come from. And number one, just to get a carrier to say, okay, you can test it there, it's a whole process, right? So that can take weeks at times just to get approved for that process. And then a lot of times they'll say, okay, but we need to charge you on top of this too. And all those roaming rates can get extremely expensive. And oh, by the way, it can only work for a fixed period of time because maybe that local carrier only allows that. So when we talked about it, Teal was the only logical choice, right? Because in eSIM technology, all I had to do was ship out the SIMs to our VP of operations, Amy. She would install the SIMs in there, and we can choose in Taiwan. We can choose from Changhua. We can choose from Taiwan Telecom. We could easily just go online, change a profile. Like I said, it's just 2 clicks. Profile's updated. The rates are extremely competitive, and we're not limited in time. And then the other additional benefit we had from that too is we could take those devices. We knew how they would work in that environment in Taiwan, how the connectivity worked, what it would look like in terms of, latency issues or any speed issues or anything along those lines. And it's only Cat-M, so it doesn't need anything, super fancy like 5G. But when we decided and went to do the rollout here in the States for testing, all we did was we just shipped those devices directly out here. And as I mentioned, we installed it into my CEO's home. The whole thermostat, the IVA thermostat there. we brought it online. We had one carrier that was already selected on there, saw we could get no connectivity, 2 clicks, chose another carrier. It was up and connected, and we can go ahead and do full testing on the device. And then, of course, you go through a lot of troubleshooting, those kind of things, but it gave us that capability without going through the hassle, which was so critical to us, because it's very, very time consuming when you have to go through all those steps. And really, it's a lot of hoops you have to go through in a lot of cases.
Well, it's great to hear all the benefits of eSIM. Now, we've talked a lot about IVA, and I'm really excited about that product, but are you able to talk about some other new products that you maybe have in your pipeline that we can get excited about?
Yeah, we do have a number of them. We actually have an industrial router out there today. And that industrial router is actually used in a driverless rental car form. Hopefully I can mention a name, and it's based out of Las Vegas, Halo. So they're using our routers. It's our 5G modem and a specially designed antenna to drive those cars. And we're selling that into an industrial space as well. And again, this is one of those areas where Teal comes into play. Is customer we're working with right now has plants located throughout the Midwest. Well, some carriers have great coverage, others don't. We can change the profile for them. It just makes it super simple. So that's one of it's a current product. It's out there. We're selling it. It's got great traction, and there's got some good recognition on there. IVA, I think, is something I want to touch base on more, because as an OEM, right? And I came from the carrier side. So for me, I would go to a customer and say, hey, look, we have devices. Let's connect you. I can sell you connectivity, and let's go. In the OEM world, you have to develop devices that can be very, very unique. And that's where IVA comes into play, right? We look at it as that whole home hub type device. And we want people to look at it as more than just a home thermostat. Because if they can connect all their other I have smart lighting in my house, I have smart irrigation, the ability to control those remotely just via an app on your phone is awesome. Right. I don't have, and it's because it's cellular. If my, right now it's like the carrier I have for my home internet can go down at any time. And if my home internet's down, or my carrier's down in that case, and I still need to control my thermostat, I can do that because it's cellularly connected. So it makes it so much easier, and it's so much more advanced that way. And it takes time. It takes time to bring products to the market, right? People think, oh, hey, you have it. We've seen it on your website. When can I buy it? Well, there's so much testing everything has to go through. There's so many certification processes everything has to go through. So it really takes a lot of time. So we're looking at IVA probably second quarter of next year of really getting that launched, both retail and through the home builders themselves. But another device that we're going to be launching in the first quarter next year, and if you see us on our LinkedIn profile, or you follow us on Instagram, a couple of things, is called VOZ 5G. And VOZ 5G is one of the only, and it's the only domestic one right now. It's the only domestic 5G dongle for that peer-to-peer, for that single laptop connection. So, if you think about you're on the go, you're on the move, if I need to be connected, then VOZ 5G is the device to do that. A lot of folks look at trying to do MiFi devices, or looking for public Wi-Fi. Those are open internet connections, so those are available, but we look at those as not protected as enough as you need to be, potentially with your laptop and your information that you're trying to keep secure. Since VOZ is just a single peer-to-peer connection plugging right into your USB-C connection on your laptop, it gives you that connectivity. I just spent about 8 days back east, even in the hotel, because VOZ is a 5G device. I can get much, much faster speeds than the hotel internet. I was getting 10 megabit down on a hotel internet and 5 meg up. If I had to upload documents, especially a large file, it would take forever to do that. The 5G speed gives me those capabilities. And then something else, and you don't know about this just because we've been working on this last week, but we're also now developing a home router that can replace your home internet router provided by your carrier. And it has a USB-C connection in that for that VOZ 5G to connect to. And we just did some testing at our office last Thursday where we had it fired up. We're working on the internet in our office. We unplugged the Ethernet cable, seamless connection right over to VOZ 5G. So think about that at your home, and it's just a backup device in that case. It's not your primary use device. It's just a backup device in that case. You think about in your home, if your home internet goes down and bang, all of a sudden you got home 5G, hey, you're good to go right there. So those are some of the devices that we're rolling out here. We're working hard on that, right? It takes a lot of time. Again, as I mentioned, it's a long time to bring these devices to market. You've got to do so much testing to ensure they hit the market without any issues or errors, because that end user experience is critical to the success of that device overall. So those are some of the things that we're working on right now, and we're excited about bringing those out here next year. And we're excited about working with Teal in a number of cases, right? The IVA one, IVA has become personal to me. Because the VOZ 5G is kind of a retail mainly product, which is great and cool and that stuff. But VOZ I see in that B2B space of really working with those home builders to really, changing that landscape and taking what's a flat market in that home, connected thermostat, and then changing the profile of that completely.
Lots of exciting stuff. I was really excited to see the IVA product and the VOZ product at NWC in Las Vegas. Can't wait to get my hands on those products, and I'm excited to hear about the home router. So congrats there. So lots to look forward to. You mentioned it earlier, you're online, you're on LinkedIn. For those listening in, where can they learn more about TriCascade?
The easiest is just go to our website, www.TriCascadeInc.com. All of our products, our solutions are listed on there. Inquiries are available on there. There will be, as I mentioned, VOZ is going to mainly be a retail type product. There'll be the ability to purchase VOZ online after the beginning of the year for users. IVA will eventually be on there as well. My contact information is typically all over every place. You can look me up on LinkedIn as well. And you just touched base about Mobile World Congress, MWC, that, you got to see the VOZ device, you got to see IVA and a few other devices there. CES is coming up around the corner. We plan on attending CES this year as just participants, exhibitor visitors, right? We want to go see what everybody's doing out there. But we do plan on seeing 2024 of doing a full booth, a full launch there, where we'll have a whole home, connected home type environment there, working with some of our partners to really make that come to life. So, we see a lot of big things coming on in 2023 and 2024. Absolutely.
So be sure to go and check out TriCascade online, all over social media. And if you're going to be headed to CES in Las Vegas in January, be sure to reach out and set a time to meet with Jerome and his team of experts. So there you have it. If you're like us and you're enthusiastic about IoT, be sure to like this video and click that subscribe button, and be sure to listen into future episodes of IoT Connect. You can learn more at tealcom.io/IoT Connect. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in, and thank you to Jerome for being on our show today.
Thanks for having me, Rob. Great time. And again, love the guys at Teal. You guys really take care of your customers. And I love being on that customer side versus being on the other side. So love working with you guys.